It's day 33 of my journey towards writing my first fantasy novel and day 2 of the drafting process. And today has been a tough day. Not so much because I didn't like writing, but it was just so busy. It's a Sunday. I had mass first, and then I went to see a friend and spent most of the afternoon and evening there, and I only just returned. Yesterday evening, I went to see some parishioners, and that took most of the evening, so I was home quite late and didn't sleep much because I still wanted to get up at 6 in the morning, because I knew that probably those first 3 hours of the day would be the only ones that I truly could focus on the writing. So that went relatively well. I was pretty tired, and I had to rewrite most of chapter 1. So yesterday, I kind of made a sketch of what I wanted to happen in chapter 1, but this morning I had some additional ideas, and so I had to rewrite most of what I had already written. So today, in all, I think I wrote about 1,200 words, which is half of what I wrote yesterday. But of course, there's a lot of rewriting that I did. I'm not that concerned because I think that the chapter is much, much stronger now. I brought Ty's little brother into the story. And so, his little brother has been brought there by his parents because he's constantly sick. And the parents think, well, the monastery has an infirmary, so he's much safer there. Plus, he's got his older brother to take care of him too. And so he's in much better hands there than he would be with us, because we cannot really help someone who's constantly sick. And so now Ty has an additional responsibility. Another thing is, maybe I've already shared this, but his little brother is deaf. And so the two can communicate because they developed some kind of sign language when they were young. But it also means that his little brother kind of misses a lot of the information and has to constantly ask his older brother what's going on. And the reason that I did that is because, first of all, it kind of heightens the stakes for Ty. He actually has a responsibility for his little brother, so that makes him even less likely to go on an adventure and leave the monastery, which is ultimately, of course, what he will have to do. But secondly, it also gives me a proxy for the reader, because I don't want to do any omniscient writer, so that I know I can just explain stuff. No, I'm like in close POV with Ty right now, and later on with Orla, formerly known as Alara. So I need someone to ask the questions that the reader has, that I have. And so creating that little, dynamic between Ty and his little brother allows me to explain things without it being like, let me tell you what is really going on here. So I'm quite happy with that. I did quite a bit of research also on what did the monastery look like? What does a chapel look like? What did they eat? What did they wear? And that's half of the fun for me, because I like doing research, and it slowly, the picture of 6th century Ireland becomes more and more in focus, and I love that. I also introduced another nemesis, or actually two. I figured, I need to have rivals. So I came up with twin brothers, and they are the sons of an Irish chieftain. So like an important person who is a political power, but that's also someone who is sponsoring the abbey. And so the abbot has welcomed these two, gives them all sorts of privileges. And these two twin brothers are horrible. They're spoiled brats. They look down on all the other monks because they're just peasants, And they specifically hate Ty and his little deficient brother because they think they shouldn't even haven't been allowed to become novices. They want to become scribes, and obviously they think, well, that is the highest rank in the monastery. So, us noble kids, we definitely are going to win this. But they know, of course, that Tai also is hoping to compete in the test. And so they go to morning prayer. There's a little altercation between these evil twins and then and Tai and his little brother. And then the abbot announces that later that day there will be a test, but there will only be three novices that will going to be admitted if they succeed in the test. The tests are going to be, I still have to write this, but these are going to focus on the three personality characteristics that Brandon Sanderson describes. And those three are likability, proactiveness, and ability. So basically, part of the test is obviously you need to show that you have an ability to copy. You need to have like basic talent for calligraphy and that sort of stuff. So that's something probably that Tai can do. But then the second and the third tests are all about how proactive are you? Well, Tai is never proactive. So the twins are going to take the lead and he's just going to follow because he's afraid to take the lead. And then the third one is test of character. Do you follow the rules, or can you also show initiative and take care of others? Anyway, there's a whole story I'll tell you tomorrow. I'm too tired for that now. But I think it's a pretty good story. So after that, I had to celebrate Mass here. And then I took the train. And one of the advantages of riding is you can basically ride anywhere. So that's what I did. I took my iPad with me. And it took me about an hour and a half to travel to my friend. I stayed there a couple of hours, and then I came back by train at night. And I've basically just been riding during that entire train ride. So for about 3 hours, well, a little less than 3 hours, because obviously sometimes you have to change trains. But I still could work a solid 2 hours on that first chapter, and on some additional notes that I took. So I also filled in more of those early chapters. So that was actually again, I was glad that despite the fact that it was a busy day with lots of travel, I was still able to do something and to keep working on the story. Tomorrow is going to be a very busy day too. In the evening, I'm going to hold my first course about the Celtic saints. So that's going to be like real history of that same time period. But I still have to prepare a lot of the slides and stuff. So I'm a bit torn. Am I going to spend the entire day preparing that? But that feels like, as I said before, work has a tendency to just fill the space that you give it. I hope that I will make some more progress in terms of like word count tomorrow, because I want to kind of stay close to my goals. Otherwise, if you get too much of a lag, it becomes almost impossible to catch up again. But so far, so good. I'm enjoying the process. That is the most rewarding aspect of it. And even if, there's some days where it's just going to be too busy to write a lot, I still am enjoying returning to 6th century Ireland. And who would have thought that? Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you tomorrow.